Okay, thank you. Thank you to the organizing committee of this conference, and I really do appreciate that so many young people are taking the time off to listen to an old fart like myself. So I'm going to kind of give you a very quick glimpse into what we're doing. I always, kind of think about it, and we are really a crazy business. And let me tell you about this crazy business. So there is a video which I like to play. It's a 4-minute video which was prepared a year and a half ago because I was invited to speak in Geneva for the UN Commission on Human Rights, and I wasn't going to fly to Geneva to give just one talk. So instead we prepared a video. Some of the information is a little bit dated, but it gives you an idea about the crazy world we're in and what we're doing. Like I said, a lot of the information is quite dated. Today, 80% of our staff are persons with disabilities. So a very good agenda. Just to give you an idea of what I'm going to talk about. Let's cover this in the next 40 minutes. So I've been told that I should say something about myself. I think Dana has already told you what I do. I was born in Penang, Malaysian, still carry a Malaysian passport. It is true. I'm on my way to the airport actually. And I was born in a lower middle income family. My parents never had motorized transport. They only went around on bicycles. So at that time, in those days, you can imagine how old I am then, right? Malaysians could actually study in many foreign countries for free. For free, it was wonderful. So I found a spot in New Zealand and went there to study a Bachelor of Commerce degree. And I started my career there as an audit clerk. And over 25 years, I worked for mostly two multinational companies, ABB and Rexon. As most of you know ABB, the power engineering company. Rexon is a British packaging company. I was running the Asia Pacific operations. And for 15 years, I was an expat. And I ended up, my last stint was in the Philippines as country manager for ABB. And I just couldn't stand corporate life and retired. And spent a few years bumming around, settling my family in Australia. So, seen all countries. So, sorry, you hear me well? Yes. So one of the things I want to mention is that I was invited to join this very prestigious organization called the Young Presidents Organization. How many of you have heard of YPO? You have? Some of your parents maybe are members. And I took up leadership positions and joined the regional board. And because it's YPO, you cannot call yourself young forever. So when you turn 50, you graduate into WPO. Our joke is that W stands for Wrinkled Presidents Organization. But it actually stands for World President Organization. So I was elected to the Southeast Asia Regional Chair position and joined the international board for 2 years. Today I still carry a Malaysian passport, I just show it to you. Home is Melbourne, I travel 70% of the time. Company was established in Singapore, and we have full-time staff in 25 locations in 10 countries. And we have clients now in 10 countries around the world. So how it all started? I was invited to join, in my last year as an expat in the Philippines, I was invited to join the board of trustees of the Computer School for the Blind. And therein I discovered how effectively blind people can actually use the computer and access the internet. How many of you know how a blind person uses a computer? Quite a few do, surprising. Anyway, I'm going to show you a short video, 1 minute, of how a year ago, and he found it faster than I did, so there's proof of how fast he is. So, but this foundation I joined, I discovered that they had, for over 5 years, trained about 500 blind people to use the computer. But none of them were actually gainfully employed sustainably by third parties. Many of them were employed by the computer school, by other NGOs, by board of trustee companies. In fact, one of the other board of trustees members was the country manager of the Burgess. They had 20,000 employees in the Philippines and they hired only one blind person. So I spent 2 years trying to put them into jobs. and I failed. It was quite painful, but the reasons were mostly apprehensive employers. It is really out of the comfort zone, lack of desire, ignorance. What is very real are risk and legal concerns, because if they don't perform, they try to sack the blind person in an environment where labor laws are very, very strict. It's very, very tough, so I can understand that. Technical problems, for which most of the technical problems we can solve, but very often we're not given the opportunity to actually work on them. Corporate policies, infrastructure, accessibility, colleagues. Some colleagues are not too keen on this, and also corporate priorities. They're there to make money, they're not there to experiment with such things. So what did we do? So at the time I was bumming around really, and decided to form a company which would set up a virtual employment ecosystem. I think I missed a slide here somewhere. Okay, sorry, I missed this slide. Now, what I discovered was that I actually hired a couple of them in my office. I had an office at the time. And I discovered that even if you hire them, well, most of them are actually in the provinces. They don't live in the major cities. So they would have to relocate and rent a place in the city and bring their help with them and all that. And then commuting. They have to come to office with the helper. Because in the less developed environment, and I think even in Malaysia probably, a blind person is very hard for a blind person to move around on his own. And I've had stories of, safety issues with our colleagues. So if you have to pay for someone to bring you to work in the morning and pick you up from work in the evening, you have to pay somebody to do that. You have to pay transportation 3 times. So yourself go to work, your minder comes in the morning, comes in the evening, so it's 3 times. So with the entry-level salary, you basically spend all your net income on that. So then I asked my colleagues or my staff, I said, why do you work? At the end of the day, when you deduct all your expenses, you have nothing. He said, well, it's better than sitting at home and doing nothing. So then I thought about it. I said, look, why don't you then sit at home and work? Because when you come to the office, what you do, turn on the PC, access the internet, pick up the phone, and call people. So because of that, it created what we call today a virtual employment ecosystem. It's an ecosystem because it's a lot more than just a platform. It's the way we function, the way we work, the way we relate to each other. And by doing so, people can work from the comfort and safety of where they are. Most of them work from home, but some of them don't have a conducive environment at home. So what they do is they work from an internet cafe, they can work from their neighbor's house, they can work from an NGO office. So by doing so, we can unlock this untapped talent in what we call marginalized societies. So I'm going to use this term a lot this morning, marginalized societies or communities. And we are starting with persons with disabilities because we think that they face the biggest challenges on one hand. On the other hand, we believe that it's easier to bring them up to the level in the corporate world. So we do this by leveraging on technology and the internet. And we select and develop and incubated businesses which would fit and prosper in this virtual employment ecosystem. So the company, as in its present form, is set up in Singapore in 2009, operating entirely on the cloud. So we are hosted on 3 domains, just for security. In fact, last year there was an occasion where 2 of the domains were down. So we were actually thinking of whether we should go to 4 domains. Data and systems are backed up in 3 countries, Philippines, China, and Malaysia. We have no office anywhere, so nobody sits in an office anywhere in our company. Staff work from where they are, we already mentioned that. And what we discovered was this distributed delivery of services is actually very much more stable, and we provide a much more seamless service to our clients because we actually basically have no downtime. Today, I think still more than 50% of our resources are in the Philippines, mostly because of English, because of data. And Philippines get hit by all these huge storms every now and then. And whenever there's a huge storm, although the country is in shambles, there are cities that are decimated. We never miss a beat. Because if we know a storm is coming, say it's in Cebu area, we tell everybody who's in Cebu area to shut down, look after your family, secure your home, and we move all the operations to other parts of the country, to China, to Vietnam, to Cambodia, to Malaysia. We can do that in 10 minutes. So I don't think many companies are capable of doing something like that. So today we have full-time 50 staff, and part-time, that means they're paid by the hour, language coaches, about 80. They are in various continents around the world. So how did we do it? There are three things that actually are key to us being able to achieve this. One is leveraging technology and the internet. I mentioned this before. So by using this, we have developed an inextricably networked high-performance team of people scattered across geographical boundaries. And therein lies the secret of how we operate. You young people, you know all these things, right? Sometimes I make this presentation and people ask me what are all these things. So the things we use is, we don't write much software ourselves, although our core engine for monitoring our sessions and booking sessions and all that are written by ourselves, but we use a lot of freeware and some paid software. I'm sure all of you know all these instant messaging, social networks and other platforms. And we keep researching and looking out for new things to use. Second point is alignment of work processes. You've seen that we hire people who are putting one arm, who are cerebral palsy, who are blind. We even had people who are deaf, hearing impaired. I think our core process is that we can craft the work processes that people with different disabilities can complement each other to perform a team-oriented task. And we do capitalize on their qualities, because number one, they have heightened senses. For example, our QA department is mostly blind people because they are listening to the sessions that have low evaluation, and they will write a report on how the session went and what they recommend to improve. Also, what we do is basically, low-cost resources connect to a high-cost environment. So we are fundamentally a business process outsourcing company. And the problem with BPOs today is that most of them, for example, in the Philippines, there are more than 1 million people employed in this industry. India, probably around the same. Our turnover rates are 50% and more. So we can't operate a business that provides a high-quality service when we have such high staff turnover rates. So one of the ways to overcome this is actually to hire people from home, from provinces, not in the major cities, because they are not so mobile. There are not many companies hiring there. And on top of that, we hire people with disabilities. At the moment, I don't think we have a competitor who hires people away from us. Let's put it this way. So they are much more dedicated and reliable in the jobs. I'm a fan of Dr. Surin Pitsuwan. He was a former ASEAN Secretary General. And he said this, they are not disabled in everything. Zero in and expand on the abilities that they have and develop those qualities. And that's what we are doing. So I mentioned earlier, we assemble a team, knowing their strengths and leveraging their strengths, and coming up with work processes that overcome their weaknesses. It is really a very basic management principle when you think about it, because that's what managers do all the time. Because you never hire anybody who's perfect. Everybody has got their flaws, their strengths and their weaknesses. So when you assemble a team, you make sure they complement each other. Take it a little bit macro perspective. You wouldn't have a company that's run 100% by accountants, because there's nobody to get business, do sales, right? You wouldn't have 100% salespeople in the company because your financials will be a mess. So basically, a finance person is disabled when he's in a sales environment. A salesperson is disabled when he's asked to keep a set of books. So one of the things that was a breakthrough for us was with Taylor's College in Sumanjaya close by. And they asked us to do a pilot with 50 of the students, who were going to sit for the IELTS and prepare for Canadian University. And the way we did it was we ran about 912 hours of these online sessions. Of the coaches, the English language coaches, only 26% of the hours were done by either blind or wheelchair bound or missing limbs coaches. But the support infrastructure, as you can see, doing assessments, content development, operations, monitoring sessions, quality assurance, scheduling and monitoring, IT support, account management. We spent another 1,000 over hours. But today the ratio is not going to be like this because this was a pilot. Right? We won't make money with it. Our overheads are higher than the actual varying cost. 89% of these hours were done by persons with disabilities. And you can see the outcome of this pilot. After this, Taylor's University invited us to do a research project with them, the Center for Languages. And we did 24 students, and the lecturer in Taylor's did a research paper on this project. And the end result was that today, if those of you are studying in Taylor's University and doing the intensive English program, you have to go through our EPIC sessions. The last thing is unique corporate culture and HR practices. I mentioned earlier the way we are networked, we are connected with our people all the time, anywhere, and anyhow. Global mindset, we try to tell our people to leave their own culture behind and subscribe to the corporate culture because that's how we want to operate, and that's how we present ourselves to our client. We are an instant response kind of company. Our help desk, for example, I benchmarked them on 30-second response time. That means if anybody makes inquiry on a help desk, they have to respond within 30 seconds. And I just spoke to my IT supervisor yesterday, and he told me that his internal target is 10 seconds. So that's the kind of company we want to be. We are very flexible on rules. After all, everybody works from home. But we have very, very strict on principles. So, and I think that is giving extreme empowerment to our people, is that you have to understand the principles behind every rule. No rule is sacred. We also have, because everybody works from home, we have this tribal system where there's a group of people who are from different departments. They have a conference call every month and talk about personal and work issues. And this is actually institutionalized in the organization. And this is adopted from my experience in the Young Persons Organization, because that's what we do also as CEOs of companies. So what is our business? I'm going to start to talk about the commercialized part of it, because we have a lot of businesses which are still starting up and incubating. We are the marketing arm for eCornell in many parts of this region. eCornell is the e-learning arm of Cornell University. You can get certificates from Cornell University by taking this program. Totally online. And Epic Online, we talked about already. Let me see whether this is a slide. And these are the clients of eCornell and Epic Online for us. As you can see, we have very big companies all over the world. Quite a few academic institutions. We have the University for Peace, Kaplan, and Taylor's, of course. As you can see, quite a number of multinational companies. So we are mostly a B2B model. We do take retail clients, but we don't really market retail. Then in this box, in this thing here, are all our college startup, because they're having revenues, but they're not yet break even. Mandarin eSpeak is the Mandarin speaking version of Epic. You can learn Chinese online, still small. But the interesting thing about Mandarin eSpeak is all the language coaches are disabled people. These are Chinese people in China. We also do a very small thing here with speech assistance for autistic children. Mostly doing pilots at the moment. We have three paying customers right now. Then remote IT support. How many of you are familiar with remote IT support, TeamViewer and all that? Those who are not can ask those with their hands up, because there's another video I don't think I have time to show. Then screen reader support. We discovered that because we have about 12 people in our company who are blind using the computer, our IT people support them, so now we launched it as a service. And we are now listed on screen reader websites. ND Access is the second largest screen reader in the world. We are listed on the International Council for Education of the Visually Impaired website, so we have some recognition there. And we also started this thing called iWatch, which is a remote surveillance service. Oops. I'll play this, is a 1-minute video. So these are wireless. They also have infrared, as you can see, for night vision. They also have built-in microphone and speakers. And these cameras today are Wi-Fi. They cost about, you can get them as cheap as $60 US each. So it's very inexpensive to set up. We will charge for remote setup $20 to do it. US dollars, by the way. And we provide surveillance. Our only customer today for iWatch is a dementia center in Singapore, in Pasir Ris, called Apex Harmony Lodge. We are watching 16 cameras for them from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., 7 days a week. And the people watching the cameras are all disabled people from Philippines, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Then this one here, remote guides for the blind. We discovered that actually today with most places you can actually use either your cell phone camera or even an ear-mounted camera. You can guide somebody from halfway around the world. And we are actually running pilots and trials in Australia where, say, a person in a wheelchair in Cambodia or Philippines can guide a blind person to move around in Australia, go to the supermarket, do shopping, read products, labels. And this is still a development project, which is very exciting. This is our iRead. This is still quite new. And this is a testimonial from somebody in Australia. As you can see, we did a pretty good job here. He lives in Darwin, I think this guy. And Mr. Odo, the executive director of Nippon Foundation, has some really nice things to say about what they're doing. And I really like his last statement here. It is brilliant that the orthopedically disabled people can be employed to train and support the visually impaired to use computers to access the internet. Hopefully, this will in turn enable visually impaired people to be employed. So think how powerful this is here. We have a person in a wheelchair helping, training a person who's blind so that the person can be employed. We didn't think about this when we started, but today we can claim to be what they call today a 3P company. We are first and foremost a for-profit organization. We believe that it is very important to be for-profit for a number of reasons. One is that if you're not for-profit, then you can't sustain. You always need somebody to give you money to carry on. And you can't scale. So for example, today, if I'm losing $100,000 employing 50 disabled people, if I want to hire 500 disabled people, I need $1 million from somebody. That's not going to work long term. So if we can't make money and be profitable, then we can't grow and make an impact. Secondly is that our people, I want to make sure that they understand that they have to work and deliver value so that they get paid. And not that somebody pities them and they're given money. And that's the biggest challenge that we face. So we don't take donations. We haven't had any grants. We don't even get government assistance anywhere. So we try to do it on our own. We've seen the people aspect of our business, of course, and then the planet. When you think about it, we are a very, very green company, right? Because we do online delivery of services, learning and other services. So we don't use much paper, we don't have buildings, we don't have furniture, we don't turn on air cons, stuff like that, turn on lights. And the work from home minimizes commuting. It means less vehicles, less production of vehicles, less congestion in cities, less noise, and less consumption of non-renewable energy, fossil fuels, and less emissions and pollution. Okay, what can the future hold? We are just really on the starting part of the journey, I think. Historically, we have been growing at about 100% per annum. But it's easy to say that because we started from what in Malaysia we call kacang putih, peanuts. We're targeted for the next 3 years because we have hit some critical mass now. So we think we can grow about 300% annually for the next 3 years. And the good thing is that we can do business anywhere in the world. Tomorrow, if you have a company in Mongolia or Timbuktu, want to buy our services, we can start delivering tomorrow. We are focused in the next 3 years actually on Malaysia and Indonesia. We're doing a number of pilots with the Ministry of Education, and we're very hopeful that it will provide us massive growth. Because of the way we operate, scaling up can be done quickly and cost effectively. You can hire anywhere, no need to set up, no need to negotiate rental, look for a space, do renovations, order furniture, no machines to be installed. We don't even need to look for money to stock up for inventory. So we are not shackled by any physical constraints. The potential for persons with disabilities is immense because the businesses that we are growing here, this one, here, I would say a relatively small, it's still a large percentage, but smaller percentage can be persons with disabilities. But if you look at Mandarin East, it can be 100%. I read, I watch Able Online. All can be 100% run by persons with disabilities. So this is quite significant. So can this one. And the interesting thing I'll mention later on, not only that we are hiring persons with disabilities, but we also can provide services to people with disabilities. We don't have to stop with persons with disabilities because they are the first marginalized community that we target. We can also target ex-convicts, people who have been released from the penal system, who are supposed to be rehabilitated. We can hire them. Most people will be afraid to hire them. And what will happen is that they come out from prison, they don't get jobs. So what happens? They go back to a life of crime because they have to live. So we can actually do that. We can even actually hire people within the penal system. We had a discussion amongst our MENCOM when we thought about it. The most reliable employees are those who are in prison. Because they have to be there on time, they cannot go anywhere else, so they will always be very, very punctual and very diligent. HIV sufferers, we started discussions with an organization in Zimbabwe, and I actually discovered that in Zimbabwe, the only medium of education is English. There's no local language education. So most of the education is good, but unfortunately the accents are not that good. Most of them speak like Uganda. Lepers, refugee centers, we're starting to talk to some refugee centers. There are some legal issues. We find a waste of human resources and talents, people who spend decades sometimes in refugee centers. But we like to say that it's not just about social responsibility when we do this. It is as much about a workforce that's reliable, stable, and dedicated. So we actually make the business stronger. Recognition. 10 minutes ahead. So we have recognition from some international bodies. I've been recruited into UNESCAP as one of the promoters for this current decade for disability. We have been cited in a project in Europe. We are one of very few companies in the ILO's disability network. And the other companies in here are really huge. So these are some of the other companies in the network. And we are probably 0.01% of the volume of business of any one of these companies. We have testimonials from the Nippon Foundation, ICDI, University of Sydney, Asia Pacific Center for Disability. They're all on our website. So why do I do this? I just feel that I'm able to draw on my education, my work experience in multinational companies, draw on my network in YPO, and bring everything together to do this. And I find it very, very exciting that I can make use of so many things that I have accumulated in my life. And the opportunity to be creative, because we are doing things that mostly have never done before. So it's a lot of fun. We can sit together with a bunch of people and why not? Always ask why not? We can do this, we can do this, we can do that. And I believe that we have potential to be a very, very valuable company because of the way we are. We don't have much fixed cost, no no physical infrastructure. So when we grow, those of you who have done some finance, the margins will drop through to the bottom line very, very quickly. So all we need is just volume. And of course, being able to uplift the marginalized communities. Scalable, sustainable. And to be honest, I've always been a sucker for the underdog. So people who are disadvantaged, I always, when I was following soccer or whatever, I always cheer for the underdog, not for the favorite team. And I think also that we have a unique market proposition. We can tap on the CSR aspirations of people and companies. A lot of this is going on in most major multinationals. And this is a slide, this is information from the World Health Organization, their World Disability Report. They reckon that 10% of the global population are persons with disabilities. And if you count the immediate family members, you're talking about almost half, 40% of the world population. So if we are known to be an organization that delivers products and services using disabled people, I think we could kind of have a leading position in the market if people know about this. It's just like this fair trade thing, where you give a fair deal to farmers, and this is already a globally recognized kind of a brand. Fun, exciting, it's quite addictive, I have to say. Given up almost everything to do this. Hard work, stressful, frustrating, and exasperating, with all of that. Working with disabled people is not like most NGOs tell you. They always tell you that they are very, very good, they're as good as, I would say the answer is they can be as good. And to get to, can be to as good is quite a journey. I don't have time to go into that. Returns so far, these are the things I just, I was asked to write down, what do I get out of this so far? Intimate appreciation of people who really, at a disadvantage. And you really get a sense of appreciation that, there's so many things actually not very right in this world. And I'm inspired by those who struggle and claw themselves up from the bowels of life. I can tell you stories about how some of them have been treated, what they have gone through, and they're still now working effectively and performing in the organization and giving a service to multinational companies. It really makes me want less for myself in life. And a wise man once said to me that wealth is not measured by how much you have, but by how little more you desire. And I think today I'm a little bit wealthier because I desire less. Trying to just pacify myself now. Knowing that, we paid, our entry level salary is $250 a month, US. And some of my staff with $300 a month, they come to me with a letter to sign to the bank. They can borrow money to buy a house in some countries with that kind of money. So can you imagine? They don't need much. They can actually buy a house for their family. So, but having said that, I do wish I'm not so stressed financially. We're stressed because I fund this myself. We have no equity partners. Banks will not want to lend us money at this moment. I don't think they do. I haven't really approached that many banks. What I've done is I've said to the staff that I only keep 20% of the shares of the company. 80% is reserved for the employees, probably to be put into some kind of a trust or cooperative. But I did tell them that if we really, really need funding and need equity partners to come in, the shares are coming from their 80%, not my 20%. So, okay, so let's meet some of I will call them our heroes. I'll just flash through them very quickly. You read on the screen. Nadia lives in Bagansarai, somewhere north of here. She actually had a full-time job and came to ask us to work the evening shift because she needed more money to support her family. And she can only use one finger on one hand. That's all she can use. And her head, she can't move the rest of her body. This girl is very interesting. She's born with one arm. She lives in a very remote part of the Philippines. When she found that, this opportunity, she was interviewed. We gave her a job, but we said your internet connection had to be at least this level. And she went to borrow money and set up a 50-foot pole outside the house and put an antenna on top. So then she worked for us. She's worked with us for 2 years. 2 months ago, she was just promoted. Nikki, China, very sad, very, very bright girl. At the age of 15, had lupus, and the medication blinded her. Sad thing about Nikki is today her health is really, really bad. So I'm not so sure how long more she can continue to work. Boon King is our only Singaporean staff. We are a Singapore company. He works only part-time. He has muscle dystrophy. He can't use a keyboard. He can only use a joystick. He can't hold a cup of coffee. But he works for us doing monitoring. He only works part-time for us because the other half of his time, he goes back to the muscle dystrophy center to mentor other people like him. Can you believe that? He's already giving back. Sad thing about Boon King is when he hired him, I think more than a year ago, his doctor told us that he will only have about 5 years of life left because it's a progressive condition, and once it spreads to his heart or lungs, it's the end of the story. Maricel in the video, she was my secretary. I think it was this year, early this year, she was promoted to HR manager. She was a very pretty girl, and final year uni, car accident, and destroyed her face and popped both her eyes. Raj is one of my most senior people. He's one of the most experienced and educated. He has a master's in telecommunications engineering. He was working in Motorola, his last job. He managed 7 managers. At a picnic, he fell down, hit his chin on the sand, broke something, and now he can't move anything but his head. He operates the computer purely by voice. So, what's the difference? Most persons with disabilities are working in, I would say, not so exciting jobs. Ours are high value added mainstream work. They are strategically integrated into the business. They make our business stronger, serving prominent clients. So we're not about charity, we're not about sympathy. We hire and fire them. They don't perform. I'm not even the one who fires. You know, my HR manager will be very, very angry because they all know that if you carry too many freeloaders in the company, it will collapse and none of them will have a job. So they are more, they treat their job more precious than I would treat this company. They get paid like everyone else. We don't have a difference in salary between person with disability or not. And they get fired if they don't perform. So, Q&A. Thank you very much. Use new hardware this time. So I thought I'd get some of my colleagues to join me for this Q&A. So we have seen, well, Ryan was on the video. Ryan's our IT manager. That's us here. Wendy, she was on the video. She's in Shanxi province in China. He is in Vietnam. Billy, our QA manager in Philippines, and Raj in Jalan Gasing somewhere. So, questions?
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, questions?
I have a question to start up with.
Okay.
How did they find out about the job or like your company for employees and stuff?
Okay, guys, how did you find out about us? Who wants to start? Dee, why don't you start, Dee? How did you find out about our company?
Well, before working for Gymnastem, I was actually a high school teacher. It was a private school. It was a regular school actually. So I was teaching what you call sighted students. But then at that time, I was being assisted by someone to teach the students. But I kind of realized that professionally I'm not that developing. So I decided to look for a job that I can do independently. So through the help of an NGO, I was referred to Gymnastem. and which is at that time was really open, and even up to now, for people with disability to work for them. So I started as one of the first visually impaired coaches, and then later on I was absorbed by the company and promoted, worked as worked in the QA department, and currently I am actually leading that T department.
Thanks, Billy. Raj, you want to mention how you found out about us?
Yeah, okay, hi everybody. Hi. Yeah, so right after my injury and my rehabilitation, I decided that I should at least be able to support myself. So I started looking around for opportunities, and I got introduced internationally to this foundation called the Beautiful Game Foundation. Very nice people, and they basically introduced me to some of the opportunities that gymnastics offered. And initially, I applied for the position of a coach, English coach. So I went through the application process, the trials. Billy was the one who interviewed me actually. So, and yeah, so that process happened. And the next thing I knew was that Thomas gave me a call. I mean, he arranged a call, and he called me up, and he was asking me about my experience, and yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful that Mr. Thomas could see the value that I could bring to the organization, and he hired me as a process manager to be part of his management team. So I'm very thankful to that, and yeah, it's been almost 3 years now I'm in the company. I'm very happy with the company, and hopefully we could achieve great things together.
Thanks, Raj. So basically the answer is that through, sorry, you want to give Raj? Many NGOs know about us, many international organizations know about us, also by word of mouth. The people with disabilities are also networked in their own communities. Question. Any questions? Yes.
Good morning. My name is Jallo Yagu from Guinea. So, as a computer science student, I'm really impressed, seriously, because I use computer every day. But this one really impressed me. So, I want to ask, how you train new people. For example, you take new people in your company who never use a laptop before, or a computer or something. How you train them?
Okay. Well, first of all, we had very bad experiences hiring people who have never used a computer before. So today, we basically hire people who know how to use a computer, who actually have their own computer and have internet connection. And we found that generally speaking, generally speaking, most of the people that we talk to, they actually have this because as a person with disability, confined to the home most of the time, this is the window to the world. So they generally, somehow or other, backsteal or borrow, or I always say that some of them have PCs held together by bits of string and leeching off somebody's Wi-Fi, and they're actually, surfing the internet. But Ryan, can you talk a bit about the onboarding training for new staff? Ryan?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so in terms of hiring new staff with our company, our priority is actually more on the attitude. We focus more on the attitude rather than skills because we strongly believe that a good attitude is a foundation of a good employee. So, in terms of skills that can be learned, as long as a person is really dedicated and very focused, then it would be easy for this person to qualify with because of you know, the degree of education. Actually, majority of our staff right now do not have complete any college degree. Like for myself, I was not able to complete college, but because of hard work and dedication, I was able to you know, meet the requirements of the company. And so we focus more on this rather than on educational training.
Talk about the online training, right?
Yeah, in terms of the training of our staff, we do this online. Everything is online. So we set up you know, a training platform, and then we also do several tests, mostly practical tests. In that way, we determine already if the person is really ready to work.
Other questions? Okay.
Hi, Mr. Thomas. I'm Christine. I'm from studying data. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Because within my extended family, I have disabled cousins. So they're still young. They don't have any skills. So what are your takes on marginalized youth in Malaysia? What do you plan to do with the youth? Not just like adults who are marginalized, those are disabled. What do you plan to do within our marginalized society where youth, especially, they do not have hope? They see themselves as useless. Like I see my cousin, she's hopeful in her future, but her disability holds her back. So I'm actually very proud that you're starting something like this. I do want to encourage her to join something like this. So is there something for the youth, something to empower them, something to give them strength that their future is not as bad because of their disability? Thank you.
What a wonderful question. Well, first of all, I mean, we are not financially strong enough to be a kind of a benevolent company. We can't train a bunch of people for free. But what has happened, not very much, but some of the international organizations actually buy our services for the marginalized communities. For example, we have a project where the Nippon Foundation hired us to train disabled youth in Phnom Penh. So you know, we can do that, but small scale we can probably handle, but bigger scale we need funding because we don't make enough money to be able to be generous like that. The other thing that we are doing is we are actually now talking to a number of orphanages, especially in refugee centers, children in refugee centers, orphanages in Malaysia. We're talking to 2 of them. We're going to try to run, you know, software platforms that we have licensed. We can probably do that for free because we have no incremental costs. But even to talk about tutoring, we have to pay people to do tutoring, so we have to be careful about that. So yes, we would like to, we believe that online is the way to bring education to everybody, levels the playing field for everybody. And not only it does that, on the flip side, you can actually be employed online. I don't know how many of you have heard of Odesk and Elance, right? So you can actually work online. I mean, the person who earned the most money on Odesk is a Filipino working in one of the small towns, and he made $172,000 in 2013, US dollars, $500,000 or more. So you know, this online space, digital space, is something really for people to think about because it changes a lot of rules in the game.
Okay, thank you very much. In the interest of time, we will only be accepting one more question.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your speech. My name is Orabode. I'm from Utah, from Nigeria, Africa. I would like to, my question is actually about your staffs. Most of them are from Southeast Asia, like an Asian continent. Actually, my question is just that do you have any intention of reaching out to other continents, like Africa, for example, in empowering some disabilities?
Well, another very good question. Definitely yes, and we have been trying hard. We've been trying hard. We have a person in Ghana at the moment, an IT person. We hopefully get that girl in Pakistan, right? Ryan, are we still working on her? We had a couple of people from India, Jamaica, so anywhere in the world. So if you have somebody in Nigeria who particularly disabled, because we discriminate against people who are not disabled, to be honest. With a good internet connection and you know, decent English skills, and really wants to work, we will give it a try. Anything to add? Any of you guys out there? Ryan or no? Okay. So no more questions?
Actually, we have 2 more questions.
2 more? Okay.
It's one there, one there.
Hello, I'm Gary. I'm from Taylor and studying computer science. I just want to ask, how do you motivate them? Very special. Because you said if they are like demotivated, I mean like didn't perform well, right? You fire them, right? I mean, because you are outside online, it's not easy to motivate. I mean, in office you can motivate them, find them, but online, they are different countries. How do you motivate them? How do you push them and do their tasks?
Maybe you should ask them. Guys, how are you motivated? Can you hear that? Can you hear me? Hello? How are you motivated? How are you motivated? I don't hear that.
No, yeah.
Okay, can you hear me well now?
Yeah, we can talk.
Okay. How are you motivated? The question is, apart from me being a slave driver, the mean son of a bitch, I mean, how are you motivated? Ryan, why don't you start? You've been with us the longest, I think. Ryan is the longest with us.
Okay, let me start. I've been working with the company for 5 years already, and I think the motivation here is that as a person with disability, it's really important that you're doing something, not only for your own future, but for others. I mean, the motivation here is that, first of all, of course, employment. This is an employment opportunity. It's really difficult, especially here in our country, to be employed to, companies. I don't think I would even qualify if I would apply in any company. So the motivation here is that the company has given us opportunities to work, even with less qualifications. It's only they focus on the ability of the people. So that is, I think, one of the motivations that that keeps me working here in the company.
Okay, thanks.
And also the good thing is,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, another thing that we are treated equally here. But that's all what we want, equal opportunity.
Okay.
Right? So,
can you say something, Gui? Well, how are you motivated?
Yes, hello. Hello, sorry, this is the first time.
Very shy, don't worry.
Many people like this. Yeah. I'm Jay, I'm from Dong Hoi City, Vietnam. I say when I was 4 years old, I was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy. So it makes my arms and legs weaker day by day. So after I was diagnosed, after the diagnosis, I'm still playing the mobile, but it's harder. And 2 years ago, I become a wheelchair bound. I am not able to work anymore. When I worked in Zenesteam in February 2003, because I don't have a college graduate certificate, so it's really hard to find a job with me. And my English is not very good either. So when I had a job in Zenesteam, I was so surprised and happy because I never thought that I will be working in an international company like Zenesteam. And I had experienced many changes in working here. Zenesteam is not only given me a job, but it also given me a lesson on how to improve my English communication skill and to work as a team player. I have made many new friends in Zenesteam, and all of them very happy and helpful to me. But the most important thing that Zenesteam give me back, is my self-confidence, whereby I can work and then take care of my family with the comfort of my home. So I can say that Zenesteam has changed my life in many ways.
The last question, sorry.
Hello guys, I'm Osama from Vienna. Actually, my question, they already answered, but I have one request from them. Since you are 5, we want like one short speech from you, motivation from you to all the leaders here for 30 seconds for each.
Okay. Okay. So a 30-second inspirational speech for each of you. Raj, you want to start? Raj, you there?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. 30
Okay.
seconds.
As my colleagues have mentioned earlier, I mean, this organization provides us with equal opportunities for us to perform. And this organization in many ways gives back to society as well as helps empowers the employees. But what I would like to add as well is whenever there's a will, there's a way. This applies not only to fellow PWDs, but to every single person out there, right? We owe it to ourselves to be the best that we can be, and the opportunities are there if we are willing to help ourselves to look, right? So it's a common saying. Everybody knows this, but what's important here is how you apply the saying to yourself. Right? How do you make sure that you have the necessary will, necessary perseverance, and also the positive thinking to move forward in life. And with these 3 ingredients, anybody in this world can make good for themselves, and that will help define them. So that's a small sharing that I have.
Thank you, Raj.
All right. Yep. Final message would be, well, in life, whether a person is disabled or not, I mean, every one of us there will be a point in time where people doubt what we can do. But as they say, it's not important what you can't do, but what you can do. People would always doubt, but it's up to the person to prove himself. And and also I'd like to leave a message like this petition I just read recently that says, when you seek to discover the best for other with other people, somehow you also bring the best in you. So try not to judge other people or other person just because of how they look or their physical disability, but behind this disability, you can see that this person also has some you could say abilities that he or she can be proud of.
Ryan, then Wendy, then Joyce. Okay, Ryan.
Okay, for me, I have a very short message for everyone. This is based on my experience with working in the company. I think for everybody, whether you're a person with disability or not, I think the best thing to do is to really work hard for everything that you do. And the fruits of your labor will come. You don't have to be asking for it will come. And I definitely believe on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. Speaking why I'm joining the gymnastics, I think it's very precarious because at that time, I was in trouble finding a job after my graduation from college. In our city, it's for me too difficult to find a job because the barrier for any facilities was not very perfect at that time. But it's gymnastics appeared at that time. I joined the gymnastics. I like the job. I like the working way online because I think it's very useful for me. I don't need to worry about commute every day and more. And I like the people oriented company culture in the company I spend. I can do many things useful. I can get a stable salary and to support myself and even sometimes support my family.
Yes. With me, I think most of the idea Brian, Billy, and Rai already said. So I agree with them. Just a bit of for my personal, I think because I'm not able to continue to study in college, my health is not good, so I just stay at home. So I learned everything from internet, and I think that even that you are the PWD, you are not able to do many things, but if you can learn, you can able to access the internet, you want to improve yourself, So you can learn everything from internet. So I think for me, when I work in gender STEAM, I have many teachers for me, and I really happy with my life now. Thank you.
One last slide is a request to the group here. You know, in many businesses or organizations, they have a council of elders to advise them. You know, I'm actually now looking for a council of youngers to actually advise the companies. As we move forward, I think we're using so much stuff on the internet, social media and all that. Sometimes, you know, we are a little bit lost. So applications are open. Anybody who's interested. It's not a paying job, by the way, not yet anyway. So that's my email address. It's very, very simple. All our email addresses are very simple. And I'll be happy to have maybe a dozen young people who I can speak to on a regular basis to just give me some feedback on the real world that's going on out there with young people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. May I now invite Mr.